I'm gonna review all the hacks I made in the past 12 years today. If you like some of them, you may want to check them out. They're all pretty easy to find. Our first one is Super Banjo-Tooie 64. This hack puts Mario in the world of Banjo-Tooie. This was made together with UED, and he was actually the main person making decisions on this. We kinda just wanted to just put more levels into Mario, because moving Mario is fun, so we figured, hey, more geometry, more objectives, you're gonna have fun. Overall, I don't think it does too good a job at being fun. A lot of it is kinda jank, and the objectives are not that interesting. Also, the levels are kinda really ugly, because we're missing all the vertex coloring and stuff from Banjo-Tooie. So this one goes into C tier. The next one is Super Donkey Kong 64. This was actually made with the exact same goal in mind, also with UED. I was the one making the decisions on this one, and we worked on this for 6 months every Sunday, so this was actually a really quick project to just stitch together. It's a little bit jank, but it does have some charm to it. If you're a Donkey Kong 64 fan, I think maybe you should check it out. If not, this game is probably not that fun, which is why I think it also deserves a C tier. The next one to rank is Captain Toad 64. So this one was made after we built a tool that allows us to vertex color on Mario 64 for the first time. Wish we had that for the previous two hacks. This is just a bunch of small puzzles for Toad to run around in. It kind of works like the Captain Toad game on Wii U. It's very short though, it's not really worth spending the time to download it, so I am also going to put this one into C tier. Our next one is Only Up 64. This was basically just a cash grab I made because Only Up was getting popular, and hey, it worked out. It's very frustrating to play, but I mean, if you're into that, maybe. I don't think you should play this game, so I'm gonna give it a D tier. Next up is Through the Ages. This game is actually, I think, 95 stars. This was made as a commission for someone, and it's just a bunch of worlds that Mario visits that are like real places. There are some Pokemon you can unlock. I think the vision between Pokemon and places to visit is not very consistent, but overall it's a well put together game, which is why I think it deserves a B tier. Next up is Mario Madness 64. So this one was my first hack ever. I made it in 2 weeks when I first learned Mario 64 hacking. So the speed at which I produced this is insane. I made more than one level every day. And it shows. This game is complete garbage. I think this can only go into F tier. No one should ever play this. Next up is Mario Sunshine 64. So this one attempted to put all the Mario Sunshine levels into Mario 64. Team Cornersoft offered to make the level models for me, but unfortunately they didn't really deliver on that. We only have 2 levels done, and after like a year of just having 2 levels done, I said, okay, put it down. This hack is dead. This is never getting finished. We're just releasing it as is. I want to get done with it. So this hack will forever only have 2 levels. The levels are decent, but because it's so unfinished and the systems in the game don't really work out because we couldn't finish the game, this is also only getting a C tier. Oh, the Return to Yoshi's Island demo. So Return to Yoshi's Island is my current project. This is the demo of it. The demo of it looks very outdated, very bad compared to what I have right now. A lot of the stars have been reworked since then. I don't think it holds up to the current Return to Yoshi's Island, but overall this is a relatively high quality project that was made after the decomp tool came out. So anything with decomp is automatically going to be a lot better than what came before it. So I think we can put this one only in B tier. Next up is Mario 64 Ocarina of Time. So this project I actually like a lot. The idea here is, hey, we're just gonna put Mario into the Zelda world. We're gonna have a bunch of items you can unlock. Mario's movement is fun. This can only be fun. This kind of works like Mario Odyssey, where you're in the level and you just figure everything out. With the addition of all the items you can collect, all the puzzles to solve, the mysteries to investigate. I think it does a very good job at doing what it set out to do, but I don't think it's perfect because it still looks very ugly. All the missions are pretty low effort, which is why I think this one only deserves an A tier and not an S tier. Next up is Halloween Mayhem. So this is a mod I made together with Kinopio. I think this was 2015. Kinopio was a really good 3D modeler, and he DM'd me saying, hey, I want to make a Halloween game, I need your coding skills, want to put something together with me? And it worked out really well. It looks very cool. It's very difficult, but it really does put you into the Halloween spirit, which is why I think it deserves an A tier. If you are going to play something on Halloween, play this one. Next is Desert Mario 64. So in this game, you just run forward for around 8 hours. It's not fun, but a lot of people took this challenge upon them. This game, I feel like, is really bad, but it has a lot of cultural significance. It is an experience to play it. It will change you as a person forever, which is why I don't think we can put this in F tier, but we have to put it in D tier because playing this is miserable. Next is Doki Doki Mario 64. So this game is actually the first ever ROM hack, N64 compatible ROM hack. This was made on ROM Manager when it first came out in 2018. It was the first tool that actually could put hacks on the N64. Before that, we only had SM64 Editor, which is all kinds of broken. ROM Manager is also all kinds of broken, but it is possible to work with it. This hack is about dating the NPCs in Mario 64. It has a pretty edgy humor. It's very weird. If you are into that, I guess you can play it. But it doesn't go any higher than C tier, if you ask me. Next is Goomba's Easter egg hunt. So what I used to do for every Easter, I would DM all the other ROM hackers and ask them, hey, you get a level from me that I can put into an Easter egg. And then I would just put all the levels together with like a fucked up moveset of a Mario 64 enemy instead of Mario into a hack, and the character would just go around collecting Easter eggs. It's a cute idea. It plays alright. I guess it works for Easter. I will give this a C tier. Our next one is Mario's Little Odyssey. So the reason I made this mod is because I had the Mario 64 Odyssey moveset, which I thought felt really nice to move with. I wanted a few levels that are purely movement based without any puzzle or adventure stuff. And it does this really well. This hack actually I feel like is very underrated, and I think it deserves an A tier. So our next hack is Super Mario XD. There's a bit of a story to this. There was a German YouTuber who would rate your Mario 64 hacks if you sent them to him, and he would always way overrate the hacks. So me and Brodude had a competition. We had a competition for who could make the shittier hack without getting the worst rank possible. And I made Super Mario XD, and it was never intended to be played by anyone else, but somehow it came out, and Simple Flips would later play it, and it's the funniest video on his entire channel, if you ask me. This hack is the most troll hack of all time. There's a final level called Coctus Erectus where you see what the game is. Do not recommend playing, but very funny that it exists, so let's put it into D tier. Our next one is Getting Over It with Nathaniel Bandy. I had to watch so many hours of Nathaniel Bandy videos to get the voice clips for this one. This was made for Simple Flips' Nathaniel Bandy competition, where you had to make a hack themed around Nathaniel Bandy. So in this game, Nathaniel Bandy is the narrator. It's not a fun game to play, it's kind of a rage game, just like Getting Over It. I think the highest we can give this one is a D tier. Next hack is Kaze's Warm-Up. I made this hack, I think, in 2013, after I had half a year break from Mario 64 hacking to like get back into assembly and stuff. I wanted to experiment with a few things. I think this hack works out alright. This was made just before Lost Impact. So I really amped up the custom code factor. I think it works fine. I don't think it's great though. At most this deserves a C tier. Lego Mario is Real. This was a commission Nathaniel Bandy gave me. I just kind of put together the Lego box from the Lego set that they released for Mario. It works fine, it looks cute, but there's nothing that really makes it any special to play. You're not missing anything out on this one, so this goes into C tier. Mario Stops Climate Change 64. This was made around the Team Trees era. I didn't put this into the Team Trees track because I didn't really want to get into that. I don't care about activism, I'm not even going to pretend I do. Where Mario just kind of stops climate change. I think it works. It's kind of a cute story. This might actually be worth playing. Fun fact about this one, Nintendo took down the video. Nintendo supports climate change, if you were wondering what their stance on that is. Overall, I think this goes into C tier, because again, nothing too special. Last Impact. Oh my god, this is my biggest project yet. I spent 4,000 hours on this one, 2 years of my life while I was studying in university. I didn't leave my room the entire time. I went 2 years without talking to a human person, just standing in front of my computer, assembly programming and hex editing. My goal here was to just put as much custom shit as I could into my game. My mindset was like, everything has to be custom code. I didn't really think about whether the custom code would be fun though. So for that reason, the game is not very cohesive. It doesn't work well with itself. At most, we can give this one a B tier, which pains me because I spent so much time on this. I don't think I've ever suffered as much as I did for this hack here. Peach's Fury. So this game, again, just, oh, Mario's movement is fun. I want to test my custom engine. Here's the little flags of how cool my N64 levels look like. It's really fun to move around in. It's doing its job perfectly well. I think for me, this is the definition of an S tier. Operation Christmas. This was my rare crossover with BroDude. He made a level and I made some missions. The missions are kind of stupid and all over the place. I think people actually hate this hack. I don't think it's that terrible. Overall, my style and BroDude's style just don't work well together, because he's all about just like, oh, here's a level, run around in it. And back then I was all about, hey, we need to have an adventure, we need some custom code, we need to show the player new stuff, which really clashes with each other. So this one goes into a D tier because it's just not good. Next is Organ of Matrius. So this hack is, I think, 9 stars. This was made, I don't remember what it was made for. Basically, I was just screwing around with custom behaviors. This was before I was assembly programming. I was just hex editing together some code to get some custom behaviors going. Imported a few models. It works alright. It's nothing too good, nothing too bad. I think we can put this into D tier at most though, because it's not good. Peach's Christmas Invitation. This was, I think, winter 2013? It's a Christmas hack, clearly. And this one you just kind of go through a few winter stages. There's a little story going on, of course a lot of custom codes. I think this was the first hack I made where you can actually ride Yoshi. It's decent, but very outdated nowadays, so I think we should also give this one a C tier. Next up is Portal 3, as I so frivolously named this hack. This is a Portal game on top of the Mario 64 engine, so you can really combine the Portal puzzles with the Mario 64 movement physics. It even has custom voice acting and a custom boss. I think personally this is a pretty cool game, but I can see why the style, like the puzzles and stuff, wouldn't really work well for a Mario 64 fan. I think this deserves a B tier, but the given audience would probably not like it. I'm still gonna put it into B tier, but I'm gonna warn you that this is not for everyone. Our next one is Super Mario Bros. 64. This was my first venture into assembly programming. Don't remember if it was 2012 or 2013. At this point I had given up on 3D modeling. If you had looked at my early hacks, they all look terrible. So in this one this was together with UD. He just ripped a bunch of level models for me and I put them into Mario 64. I made them into playable stages, made a collision map for it, and you would just run around in them, collect a few red coins, get to the end. It's a pretty simple point A to point B type game, but that works well with Mario 64's gameplay actually. This hack is very old though, and the ripped models are kinda jank, so I think we should give this a C tier. Next up is Lonely Holidays, with the ugliest title screen of all time, holy shit. This hack is the Mario Sunshine levels. The secret levels were put into Mario 64. They were my favorite part about Mario Sunshine, so I thought, let's just put them into Mario 64, it's gotta be fun. Unfortunately, Mario 64's physics don't work quite well with this, because it's a lot slipperier. It's a very difficult hack to play, but it's playable. I think you can find some enjoyment in it, which is why I'm gonna put it into C tier. Mario Odyssey 64. This was made together with BioBack. He made a lot of really good looking levels for this one, and then I made some really bad looking ones as well. So the style in this game is all over the place, and the capture mechanic is not very pretty. It's a very jank game, but it sometimes has a high production value. I'm pretty conflicted on this one. This is such a roller coaster ride of good stuff and really bad stuff. I think Because of that, it deserves a B tier. Our next one is Open World Mario 64. This was made for N64. The idea was that you would have some kind of battle royale going on in this. Unfortunately, I quit N64. There were some disagreements with the rest of the team. They were making decisions I disagree with. So that's why this is kind of unfinished, and it's just like a level you run around in. It's kind of cool to see the whole world in an open world style game, and the open world engine I made for this is really cool. But there's not much game to this, so let's put this into C tier. Our next one is Mario and the Magic Wand. In this game, this is an open world game, kind of inspired by The Missing Stars. I wanted to just have a bunch of levels that are interconnected and you could just go between them. When I started this, we had an object exporter plugin. This plugin would take SketchUp levels and export them, and it would mess up the UV mapping. So when I started this project, there was no UV mapping. All the levels looked terrible, but then during the project we developed a tool that would let you UV map, and I also learned to assembly program, and I was like, dude, everything I made before UV mapping is so goddamn ugly. It doesn't have any custom code either. I hate, like I don't wanna make my project look shitty through the first levels and then have it be decent at the end. So I'm just gonna quit this project and release it as is with like I think 30 stars. It's kind of fun to play. It has a lot of thwomps in the entire game. They seem to be the main enemy of this. I'm gonna give this a C tier. Our next one is split screen multiplayer. So split screen multiplayer, obviously what the name says, it puts split screen into Mario 64. This was the first time this was possible. This was actually the first time I programmed in C ever. This was after the decom came out. It took me a week to make the entire multiplayer. It went pretty fast, but I think the results are worth it. And this hack really made me question, like, why was there not multiplayer in the original game? One developer, a single week. The performance issues were not there. I don't know what they were japping on about. This goes into an S tier for me, because this is definitely worth playing if you want to play Mario 64 in multiplayer. Super Mario 64 Land. So this was my main project, I think in 2018. This game is all about just having 8 worlds with 4 levels each. Classic Mario 2D structure. You go from point A to point B. There is ranks you can get in this one, kind of like the Sonic Adventure levels, where if you go fast, you kill a lot of enemies, you get a high rank. I think it's a really fun formula that kind of encourages you to figure out speedrunning tricks and stuff like that, to like make your route to go through the level. Personally, this is the type of game I would really like. There's only one issue in this, and that is the level 2-1. It has trampolines that work with actual trampoline physics. And I'm a little mad at people for this. I think they're a little bit too smooth-brained to understand how fucking trampolines work, which ruined the level. Really unfortunate. Otherwise, this would be a higher tier game for me. I mean, yeah, I have to rate it by how I think people will enjoy the game, and the 2-1 is just kind of killing a lot of people. So the most I can give this one is a low A rank. Super Mario Bros. 64. This one just puts all the Mario Bros. Levels into Mario 64. I thought, hey, this idea would go viral. This idea is kind of neat. Unfortunately, the levels don't work that well in Mario 64. In the Mario 64 physics, they are very different from the Mario Bros. Physics. It's still kind of cool to see. It's not really too worthwhile playing, which is why I think this deserves a C tier. Mario Maker 64. So I made this game a week after Mario Maker was announced, and then I released it. I think it's a really cool concept, and a lot of people had a lot of fun with it. It also went somewhat viral. It's cool, but very outdated by Mario Builder that's gonna come out soon, made by Robert and Arthur Tilley. This one's hard to rank because it's not really a game you play, so I'm just gonna leave it unranked. Super Trump 64. This was obviously made as a shitpost. Mario is a Mexican trying to get over the wall in this one. It's not clear who this is offensive to, which is what I like. I didn't want to take a political stance, I just wanted to make a stupid shitpost that just kind of makes fun of everything. It's probably not as relevant anymore in 2023. Which is why I'm not sure if you should be playing this. Maybe it's gonna be funny again next year if the man runs for president again. I'm gonna put this into D tier. Super Ultra Kaze Mimio Road blah 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 64. I don't know what this heck was called anymore. This name is like the longest name of a ROM hack ever. This is a complete shitpost. not worth playing. Maybe you think this is funny, this is very stupid humor. I think this deserves a D tier, well deserved. Thwomp's Easter egg hunt. This is just like Goomba's Easter egg hunt, but this time you are a Thwomp. I made this a year earlier, I think, or 2 years earlier. It's a cute little game. It's also just a bunch of levels thrown together from random ROM hackers. I really had to pad the star count here by just adding so much filler stars. But maybe it puts you into the Easter mood. I don't think it's that great, so I am also gonna put this maybe a high D tier. The Missing Link. This is the most underrated hack ever. This is like an interquel between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I really like this game. There are a few small things I would change about this game, but overall it's really solid. I've heard people tell me that they consider this the third official Zelda game. It fits very well into the story. I'm pretty proud of this work. This was made together with CID Fails and Zell. Both are Ocarina of Time hackers and they both know what they're doing. Like this project a lot. I think this also goes into S tier. Traumatic TikTok Tower. So this was my attempt at an extreme hack that is also targeted at beginners. Really good players that are also beginners. Hard to juggle. I'm not sure how well that worked out, but as an extreme hack, it is decent, I think, maybe. I don't know if people like this. It's got some weird mechanics going on. A lot of stuff is very difficult, obviously. If you are into this, if you want to do your first BLJ ever, I think this is worth playing. It has some cool tech. Overall, I think this deserves a low C tier. Fun and fair Mario 64. So this game is all about making Mario 64 not fun and not fair. It's just a bunch of random stuff happens, just funny trolls. I'm getting kind of sick of them. With the recent Simple Flips trolling competition, there's too much hahaha he died, isn't this funny? Although the devs on this one are at least somewhat humorous, I don't think you really should be playing this hack, or you should be watching someone play this hack though, which is fun, so I'm gonna put this into D tier. Waluigi's Taco Stand 64. This game is when we first figured out how to make N64 compatible hacks. I wanted to make one that runs well on the N64, and I wanted to spread a ruse, so I made this whole Waluigi's Taco Stand thing, secret game. We made an old advertisement trailer for this. We pretended this was made by Camelot. I pretended to have an actual N64 cartridge and made a video about that too. It was a very fun thing to do. I think everyone was in on the joke. At least I hope I did. This game is kind of very padded out. I also kind of wanted to see how much content I could get out of how little content. Or maybe how much playtime I could get out of how little content. Overall, it's neat. It's fun to see. It's fun to move around in. But I don't think we can put this any higher than B tier. And lastly, the Yoshi Garden. In this one, it's kind of like the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure. You take care of a bunch of baby Yoshis, you put them into races. It's a very cute hack, I find. I like this a lot. If you are into pet simulators, it's worth playing. If not, then this is just base Mario 64. And why would you play this then? You can also unlock hats for your Yoshis. So if you want to play Mario 64 again with a twist, honestly, yeah, maybe this is worth checking out. Overall, I think this should go into B tier because it fits for people that like it and it's terrible for people that don't like it. That's all. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you think I ranked them fairly. I'm a pretty harsh critic, so I imagine some of these are ranked a lot lower than you would think. And a huge shout out to all my Patreon supporters. You guys help make this worth it, and I will use some of the Patreon funds to hire artists in the future to improve the mods even more. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see that.